Okay, guys, I was going to go over some of these. Well, it's this concept map that I thought might help you if you are having any trouble with the types of reproduction. So I posted this online, so you can use this. You can print it if you want to, or you can go in and modify it yourself or whatever. But this is just a concept map that shows you, it just kind of breaks up those different types of reproduction into a little concept map. So anyway, I'm going to try to type it on there. So it might take just a second to do it. But anyway, all right, so asexual reproduction. These are the different examples of asexual reproduction. The first one, I want you to pay attention to the fact that it says bacteria, okay, because that's specific. This type is specific to bacteria. They split into two cells, okay, and so this would be binary fission. All right, so that's what you're going to put in that blank right there. All right, and then bi, think of two cells, and then fission, that means to split, not fusion. Fusion means to come together, but fission means to split. Okay, now the next one says parent organism splits into pieces. So your key word there is pieces. Okay, same thing as like fragments, right? Okay, so this is fragmentation. So just pay attention to those key little words and stuff that'll help you remember. Okay, now this next one, the key part of this one is look at what is happening. It's stem, leaf, or root. Well, all those are plant parts. So this is when you take one of those plant parts and then you root that and it produces a new plant, a new individual. Okay, a lot of people, their grandmothers and stuff do this. It's called vegetative propagation. Okay, so that's this one right here. And so when you think of vegetative, you should think of plants. Okay, so that's that one. All right, now the last one says a small projection grows on the surface of the parent and becomes a separate individual. Okay, so this one to me, you got this small part that's growing on the parent. And so it's becoming like a little buddy to the parent. Okay, so it's budding. All right, so those are the types of asexual reproduction. Now let's talk about what asexual reproduction, what that means. All right, so asexual reproduction, that's the creation of offspring from a single parent. The offspring are going to be identical to the parent. Okay, and then let's see, what was this one? Short, produce offspring. So it takes a short time to produce offspring. And then organisms lack genetic diversity. So that means they're all going to be the same. They're not going to have any difference in their DNA. Okay, so that's asexual reproduction. All right, then we come over here to sexual reproduction. And remember, sexual reproduction is going to involve two parents or two cells. So here, you've got a big hint right here because it says plus and minus mating types. So that means there's two different types of mating types, and they're coming together, they're fusing together to form a new organism. So this would be a type of sexual reproduction, and this is what we call, there's really no, it's not called anything. It's just the plus and minus mating types. This is what you're going to find in fungi and in some protists. right, now in plants, we talked about that there could be asexual reproduction through vegetative propagation, but just like in nature or whatever, in plants, you're going to have part of the pollen grain is going to produce 2 sperm. 1 fertilizes the egg. And the other is used to produce the endosperm, which is going to help supply food to the embryo. And then this is called double fertilization, which should make total sense because it's 2 sperm and they're both fertilizing something. So double fertilization. All right, now with sexual reproduction, instead of one parent, it's the creation of offspring by joining 2 cells, 1 from each parent. The offspring are going to be unique. They're not going to be identical to each other. You're going to have fewer offspring are produced, and it takes more time. Oops. Fewer offspring, and it takes more time to produce them. And then the organisms are going to have genetic differences, which makes it necessary to survive when environments change. So it helps them to be able to survive better in their environment. Okay, so that is sexual reproduction. All right, and then you have viral reproduction. Now remember, viruses are not considered to be alive. They're not made of cells. They don't grow. They don't use energy. Okay, but they can cause a lot of problems. Obviously, that's why we're sitting at home doing this distance learning instead. But they're not what we consider to be living organisms. They have to reproduce inside a host cell. So when we look at, where's my text boxes go? Okay, here we go. So the 2 types are lytic and lysogenic. Okay, so lytic, if you look at that word, it's a short word. And so to me, that makes me remember that this is going to happen a little bit quicker. Viral DNA enters the host cell and takes over the host DNA. And the virus forces the cell to make viral parts until it bursts open. Okay, so that's lytic. Lysogenic, that's a longer word. I think it takes a longer time to see, what the results of it. But basically what happens is the viral DNA enters the host cell and incorporates itself into the host DNA. And then the viral DNA replicates with the host DNA until a stressor triggers it. So this would be like fever blisters or chicken pox. Once you get that virus, you have it the rest of your life. It's embedded into your DNA, and then certain things can trigger it to move into a lytic cycle, and that's when you have like fever blisters, or like if you've had chicken pox later in life, you can have shingles. Okay, and then the last thing here that you want to remember is that viruses must infect a host cell in order to reproduce. And I don't know where this is. I can't find my text box, but anyway, it should say reproduce right there. Would go here. So I guess I could try to write it. Let's see. Here we go. In order to reproduce. Okay, so hopefully if you were having any trouble with that might help you a little bit. Like I said, this concept map it's a PDF on our course page. You're welcome to print it out if you want to or whatever. But I thought I'd go over it with you just in case. It's mostly just definitions, so I feel confident that you can do it. You just need to look for those keywords and stuff. All right. Y'all take care. Talk to you later.